Doing well. All right, guys, we got Liam Robbins here. If you have a question, raise your hand. Turn your camera on, please, Robbie. So you're ready to go. So start it off for us with Liam.
Hey Liam, now that you're like 5 games in, I guess how close to like 100% in terms of knocking the rust off do you feel? And, where do you think you are basically, especially, compared to the first couple games where clearly, I mean, you could tell that you hadn't played in a year.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've came a long way since the first game when we played against Kentucky. As far as knocking all the rust off, like I don't think I'm quite back to 100% just because, I didn't have a full off season. I didn't have, a lot of time to work on my skill development, all that stuff like that. So like there's some things like I'm still hesitant to do, not because like of anything physically, but just more like skill wise, I'm not back there. But the game's definitely starting to slow down more, and I definitely feel like it's going back to where I was. So I feel like I'm in a good spot, but I'm hoping to keep building on it and get to 100% by the end of the year.
This may sound strange, but there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about, like what happened over the last few months. So was this I know your season ended last year with a sprained ankle. Was this as a result of that? And what was the surgery? Stackhouse has mentioned a surgery that we don't really know what that was. What was all that?
Yeah, so I had a pretty significant injury that wasn't really like talked about when I was at Minnesota, but it basically ended my season, and I had to have surgery in the off season. And I was supposed to be back in October, and when I was working back, I had a setback, which due to being off my foot for so long, I had a stress reaction, which set me back a little longer, which I had to wait for that to heal up before I could get back to playing basketball. So I got an MRI in early or late December that showed that I was good to start playing basketball after seeing a lot of specialists. So, I was able to get back ramping up and then start playing in early February. But I just couldn't be more appreciative of the coaching staff here and our athletic training staff, strength and conditioning coach. They all, they took really good care of me. And also it was just like, we're worried about me as a person, not necessarily a player. Like they just want to make sure I got back to being myself. So like, I couldn't thank them enough. Like, my experience at Vanderbilt's been nothing but great. And I've been really appreciative of Coach Stackhouse and his whole staff.
Go ahead, Justin.
Hey, Liam, coming up this week, in terms of Alabama, I guess for you as a big man, what are some of the challenges of playing against a team that, runs a lot and plays at a really fast pace? And also, what advantages might you see? They kind of play some smaller lineups. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, with the smaller lineup, they shoot a lot of threes. They get them up. So part of it is that, I have to be really disciplined in getting back. Obviously I'm still be aggressive and crash the glass because they are a smaller team. But, I believe they're one of the top teams in offensive rebounding as well. So, they shoot the three. So like one of the challenges is like they're gonna have really long rebounds. So you have to move your guy early and get out there. And then just also like on the defensive end, just being lower, playing lower so that, I can corral in the pick and roll defense and stuff and just make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be for our guards.
Jerry, go ahead.
Yeah, Liam, I cover Kentucky. I wonder what it was like to debut against Oscar Tshiebwe, a guy leading the country in rebounding.
Yeah, he's a really good player. I came from the Big Ten where I played against Luka Garza, Kofi Coburn, Hunter Dickinson, Travion Williams, Zach Edey, EJ Liddell. So he's just another one of those people that you add to the list. He's really physical, really talented player. So I mean, it was kind of a good wake up call as to what I had to get back to and get used to again. So it was definitely cool. And he's a really good player.
And it doesn't get much publicity, but he's leading the team in steals. I wondered if that was part of the game planning going into that game to deal with that.
With him leading in steals.
Yes.
He's just a really physical player. Active. So you had to make sure you got position on him, and didn't let him get those steals. Basically, yeah.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Liam, I guess how rewarding does it feel? I know you haven't been here before this season, but this is the first time in quite a while that Vandy's been playing meaningful games with postseason implications this late in the season. How meaningful is it, and how rewarding is it to be able to get back and actually, you know, be helping the team in time for you guys to really do something?
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. I mean, I personally have never made an NCAA tournament, and for that to still be alive and to be competing for that is just awesome. You know, shout out to like the whole team and coach. That, like, I mean, they've battled in every game this year, and you know, we've won a lot of good ones. I mean, you know, watching the Arkansas game, you know, at Arkansas, like that was just, I mean, that was an incredible effort. So like they just put together all those wins. So to be able to kind of help here, like with the final push, with, you know, some guys being out and a little banged up, I'm just glad I could be out there to contribute.
Are you, in terms of conditioning, I mean, are you pretty much good at this point, or where do you feel you are there?
I still get fatigued. There's nothing that can prepare you for game speed, game conditioning. It's just different. Like I felt like I was in pretty good shape. Like, you know, if I was to go do the, you know, cycle class with anyone, I think I'd compete with the best of them. But to go out there and compete, you know, it's just a little different. You know, things are moving faster. You're worried about a lot. It's not just running up and down. You're moving people. You're jumping out, boxing out, all that stuff. So I feel like I'm in pretty good shape, but like I definitely get winded at times. Like I think you saw it. Like we had like a 6-minute stretch where there was no media. I got kind of gassed there. So like I'm still working on building that stamina.
Thanks, Liam.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Robbie.
I've got one more if nobody else does. I mean, were you ever concerned, you know, or worried that you weren't going to be able to play this season?
I didn't try to think like that. You know, that was never in my like mindset. Was like, oh, I'm not gonna play this season. It was just kind of took it day by day. You know, every day I was just hoping I felt a little better. Some days I didn't, but most of the days I did. And so I just, you know, I kind of kept that optimism that I was gonna play this year. I didn't know when that was gonna be, but I knew if I ever got cleared, I was gonna try and come back and help if I was serviceable. So, you know, I just kind of kept that in my mind, and it's been working out so far.
Thanks, Liam. Get some rest. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey guys, we'll have Coach hop on here.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon.
Ready to roll?
Yeah, let's do it. We got Robbie. He's ready and waiting for you. Go ahead, Robbie.
Hold on. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
Can you hear me?
yeah. I'm good.
Hold on. I don't hear you.
Good now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. So you know, Alabama maybe is a little bit smaller team aside from Bediako. So it seems like, you know, Liam would provide an advantage for you guys. Where are you at in terms of, you know, are you comfortable at this point of crafting a game plan around him, around Liam, and you know, relying on him like that, as opposed to, you know, not wanting to put too much pressure on him at this point as he still sort of, you know, knocks the rest off, I guess.
Yeah. That's not how we approach things. I mean, again, thinking about, I think we look at, you know, advantages during the game, and they play small. I mean, we're going to be who we are. I think we're going to start the same way. That's our lineup right now. We would, you know, Liam at the 5, Q at the 4. I mean, Q could have an advantage. So that's the, you know, down with his size, he's shown that he's been a good low post threat for us. He can pass out of the post. So, I mean, we don't know what the game's going to dictate right now. We know who, you know, we still focus on, you know, the guys that we've been focusing on. You know, Scottie Pippen is still the straw that, you know, stirs the drink for us, you know, on the offensive end. And I think, you know, using him, however they want to try to defend him, and then we try to figure out things, you know, after we understand how they're going to defend him, and kind of go from there.
Anyone else have questions for Coach Stackhouse? Go ahead, Robbie, again.
So what will be the challenge of dealing with those guards, and how do you try to keep them in check? Because, you know, they've had games where they, you know, they beat Gonzaga, they've beaten some of the best teams in college basketball.
I mean, again, it's about us. I mean, everybody's playing well right now. It's just the same challenge of, Alabama or Texas A&M. It's all of them. It's right now we just got to come in and have a mindset of competing and playing hard. I mean, it's not so much about the X's and O's at this point. It's just about coming in and having that competitive nature of and working the game throughout the game. Know there's going to ebb and flows. I mean, this is a good scoring team. They're going to score the basketball no matter how great a defense we're going to play. We know that they're going to step up and they're going to make some shots. I feel like we'll be able to do the same. But it's just I think the key is just individual taking the challenge individually to step up and guard those guys. We want to. I mean, they hadn't been shooting the three ball great. They've been playing a lot better, in their 2-point game. But that was our game plan going into Auburn, who had been shooting 22% from three for the 5 games prior to us. And then all of a sudden they jump up and they shoot 55%. So we know that they're very, very capable. I think Ellis made like 7 threes last game. Yeah, Shackelford's capable of making threes at that clip. They got guys at Gurley, he's able to pick and pop guy that can get it going from 3. We've seen Quinley make big threes. So, David Davison, he's shooting 33%. So there's nobody out there that we can't, that we can just say that we can cheat off of them. We got to be ready to guard everybody actively. And again, close out. We've been doing a good job of defending the 3 for the most part, but I just think that really is on our urgency to get the shooters and our, just our schemes of making sure when we get the shooters, we're closing out with our hand up. So you can, in this league, if you just close out and get there without a hand up, we got guys that are capable of making shots on every team in this league. So it's important for us to really come out with urgency, have a stand up and have a hand up, and then be ready to guard, because they're great one-on-one players that can tack off the bounce as well. We got bigs that hopefully we can be there to protect, ready to cover up mistakes that's on the perimeter. But more so than anything, they know what we were going to do for the most part. We know what they're going to try to do. So it's just about competing and see who wants it the most.
Jerry Tipton, go ahead.
Terry, I wanted to ask you about Oscar Tshiebwe. He's, in addition to rebounding, leading the nation, and a scoring presence around the basket, he's also the team leader in steals. And I wondered what, if anything, that says a big guy being the leader in steals.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of teams play out of that, out of horn set where they're trying to get the ball to those elbows, and he has great anticipation, on those passes. Sometimes the bigs, they're at those elbows, they don't set up, they don't create the lead that they need, and he takes advantage of that. So I think that's probably some of the steals, reaching around in the post. Again, just have been strong and having a strong 3-quarter stance in the post, having those long arms is kind of deceptive, probably get his hands on a lot of balls and steals them that way. But I just think he has a knack for it. I mean, he had a couple against us again where we didn't pay attention and really, hold off and create the separation that we needed at those elbows. And, he got a steal and took it down for a layup. So he's good at that. He has a knack at that. I think you have to make him pay one time to kind of keep him honest, maybe get him on a backdoor slip or something like that. But he's shown that that's a part of his game that they're definitely benefiting from. And
I wonder too, another big guy that I find interesting is Jalen Williams at Arkansas. And I wonder what sort of he strikes me as a thinking man's player, but I'm wondering what you think of him as the challenge he presents.
Yeah, I mean, he's super smart. He reminds me kind of like, Quentin is for us. I mean, he's a guy that can make plays. He can, step out and just read actions. If you see that you're showing out, he has ability as a 5 to slip. He just sees the game, sees the next play a little bit quicker than a lot of guys at his size. It's more of a guard. I mean, almost from a point guard standpoint, where he sees the next player ahead. I think he's a really good player. He has the ability to bang down on the post. He's a good help defender. One of the, lead, I would have to say he has to lead that team in charges, the way he, moves over and, puts himself in position to take charges, has the ability to guard on the perimeter. And he's another one of those guys that gets those steals at the elbows as well, because he has great anticipation and he really has a physical disposition on those elbows when guys are trying to make those entries. But yeah, he's one of the top bigs in our league, no question about it.
Thanks.
Robbie, got another?
Yeah, I feel like the situation with Rodney is interesting because, as you mentioned earlier in the season, like this is his last chance to make the NCAA tournament. And, I imagine he would want to play through an injury. Like, how do you weigh that desire with just, obviously he needs to be, effective enough to affect the game? I imagine he wouldn't probably play this week.
No, I mean, Rodney hadn't been a part of the plan right now. Again, I think we won't even really have any conversation or possible conversation until at least the tournament. And I think, where he's at that point, we'll see. But our mindset and our game plan is that we probably won't have him. If it comes to where he heals up and he's able to get back, man, great. We'll welcome it. But right now we have to focus on the guys that are healthy. And we don't want to, and we need him at 100%. I mean, or something close to it. With how he plays, he wouldn't be as effective for us if he's just out there trying to be out there 70%. I mean, that's not what he does. What he does is get into the ball, be a great defender on the ball, being able to get over screens, and do those type of things for us on the defensive end. So, I mean, it's disappointing for him, disappointing for us that he hadn't, been able to stay healthy for the most of this season, but he's still engaged. I think his encouragement, just his leadership, being in our young guys' ear, being a coach for us, when he's on the bench, and I think that speaks volume of who he is. He's not sitting around thinking, woe is me because I can't play and I'm isolating myself. He's still engaged. He's still in practice. He's still talking to the guys. He's been the leader that I thought he would when we first recruited him about coming here and being a part of what we were building this year.